All right. How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Everybody. It's Coach Jackson. I'm back with something else, something a little different. I want to talk about today COVID-19 and the athlete. Talking specifically about myself, dealing with COVID. This past week I contracted the COVID-19 virus. And I just want to, and I was out there kind of looking for information on the internet. Okay, what about the athlete? Elite level type athlete, their experience with COVID, how is it? And I was beginning to look out and research certain things on it and what do they do during that time, it's a little different for us. So, and I couldn't find anything. So I'm like, I guess I'll be the guinea pig for this one. So what I did, I just kind of logged everything that I can remember that I went through and that I experienced doing the process of having COVID, and this is the ninth day, I believe, and I'm good now. Nothing, no symptoms, no nothing, negative test, but I'll just show y'all how all of that came about. All right, so let me get started here. All right, so I'll be going over the daily logs, daily symptoms, the symptoms that I had each day, the exercises that I've done, of course, being an athlete, some things it was like, okay, you shouldn't exercise, you should rest, but like I said, I experimented just to see what was what. My diet, some days I have my diet on here, some days I don't. The medication I've taken, the overall body feeling each day, I'll try to cover some of that. For vaccinations, I've been vaccinated February and in March with the Moderna. That's the type of vaccination I had. Let me see what else. I received the flu shot this year also, and I'll tell you the story about all of that. But here we go. All right, I won't be for long. Try to cover this in like 3. If I can do it in 3-4 minutes, perfect. If not, bear with me. All right, so symptom onset week of October 11th, between 11th and the 16th, during the fall break. That was the time that I had the symptoms. Potential exposure October 11th and the 12th during the fall break. During that time is kind of where I thinking I was exposed. All right, first sign of fatigue on the 15th. I was just feeling kind of tired, like, man, why am I so tired? That's the only symptom that I had then. But still, that day, so, I was, after work or whatever, I got off like, man, I want to do some, extensive tempo today. So, what I did, of course, warm up, track people. They heard me to warm up. Then after that, I usually do a 2x200. Then the 2x4, then 2-2. It's rough. You're not coming in at very fast times, but for a sprinter and just something just to keep my wind under me, I do this from time to time. Okay, so but yeah, I did my 200s that day. Even though I was feeling fatigued, but I thought, okay, this is just something I got to push through. So I did my 200s. I came through that first 230 seconds with 2 minutes rest in between. Another 230 seconds. Try to hit the time right on the spot. Nice and easy. 400s never easy, no matter how fast you run them. So I did the 400. Supposed to do it in 1 minute 15 seconds. Came through at 1 minute 10 seconds. So I was kind of moving a little bit with 3 minutes rest in between, and then I did another 400 in 13 seconds and 3 minutes rest in between. So I'm like, oh man, here go these last two 200s. But during that time, they were saying, somebody was yelling, saying, hey, we about to close the track, we about to have a football game. So you know how that is. So I left. the track. So put the DNF there. Did not finish track closure. So, but probably was a good thing. So I did half of it. Then after that, diet for that day. Don't remember. Did not begin the log. Wouldn't think about all this stuff then. Medication, none. But that day after the workout, when I went to a pharmacy to take the flu vaccination. Right. So I took the flu vaccination that day also. Next day, Saturday. Trying to go through a little faster. All right. Diet. Don't remember. Did not begin the log. Medication. None. Symptom. Bad headache. I had a real bad headache on the right side of my head. And it kind of was shooting down to the back of my neck. Like somebody was taking a pin and just stretching down to my neck. That's how it felt. That's all I had. Bad headache. So, wasn't too alarmed. But that second day, bad headache again. So I'm like, man, what's going on? I don't usually have headaches like this. This is a different type of headache. It's kind of different for me. So took ibuprofen. Then the test, I also got tested on this day here. I took the test. So that kind of pushed me to go get tested. So I went to go get tested. Got a rapid test. And it was only available at that time, that particular test in Bowman. So I had to drive all the way there to get it. Results was positive. I was like, what? Man. So that kind of took me by surprise there. Okay, now the test type was, the molecular rapid test. And later on, because I wanted to just make sure because I couldn't believe it. So the second, I took another test later on that day. But between that time, I'll get to the lawnmower. Between that time, I exercised, which was the lawnmower. And so I took that second test, and that was positive also. Diet, was trying something new with the ribs, air fried ribeye steak, and I don't remember the rest of it, but that's one of the things I ate that day. Exercise, I was meaning to cut the yard, so I cranked up my lawnmower and I try to push more as much as possible to get, the activity in and not riding on the lawnmower. So I pushed the lawnmower, cut the entire backyard only. Headache went away, because that's what I was thinking. Okay, it's probably, a sinus headache. With those, I usually move around, drink a lot of water, and try to move around, and the headache usually go away, or turn to mucus or something I can just spit out, and then I'll be fine from that. That's how I usually get over my sinus headaches. But after I had that second test, that I was positive for the Rona, my quarantine, began. So I began, to quarantine, isolate, and quarantine. And keep in mind that I had, I wasn't always the healthy guy, or a runner. I have a history of asthma, so that was my biggest concern, even dealing with COVID-19, is having that history of asthma, and then knowing that COVID, kind of attacked the lung area a little bit. So that was my concern when all this stuff first came out. So my thing was I started preparing then my body. I was already eating right, exercising, but I just paid more attention to more of the healthy stuff in detail and began to do what I could. Yep. And what else? Background history. Yeah, I think that's it. The asthma was my only concern. When I seen that positive, then it was like, oh, okay, here go. Fight begins. But Monday, my experience after the day I found out I tested positive, stuffy nose during that day. That was my symptom. But me, I took a PCR. I heard that some of the rapid tests is, sometimes accurate, sometimes not. So this is my third test right here Monday. I took the PCR test. And now medication, I did Theraflu and mixed with honey and cinnamon, the powder Theraflu. And I put honey in it and I put some cinnamon in it and just chug some in there. Put the water in it, stirred it up, and just sipped on that. And also, I wanted to keep, my lungs up and just, of course, the exercising. So what I did, I jogged a mile, 10 minutes, pretty light. Did some lunge stretches, and, felt okay when doing it. Night symptoms, post-nasal drip. Dripping out the nose. Yuck. And what else? Where am I? Diet. I guess I didn't even record that for that day. Don't remember. Tuesday. Loss of taste and smell. I didn't really recognize it because I can breathe out my nose clearly, or whatever, but it's just... I didn't recognize I had loss of taste and smell. I didn't know what that was until about Thursday. Yeah, because I was just still eating because I don't usually eat for the taste anyways. So I was just, going on. I just didn't know how that felt. But, yep. Loss of taste and smell that Tuesday. Third test result came in from that PCR test, and that was positive. So I'm like, oh, I guess I really must have the Rona then. So medication, Theraflu. That's what I did that day, the little powder Theraflu, and I did the sinus congestion medication. And when I took the sinus congestion medication, that kind of just dried everything up. But the thing about that and about having a history of asthma, everything dried up, and I didn't have no post-nasal drip as much after it kicked in. But, I started to have a little breathing thing going on just for a short period. I think that was one of them days, but it should be on here. Night symptoms, post-nasal drip, exercise. For that Tuesday, I did, 15-meter sled pulls in the back. This stuff is in my backyard. I ain't gonna get nobody exposed. So 15-meter sled pull, and I did that times four times. Box step ups with weights, single leg box jumps, just jumping on that 3 times. Very easy just to keep those muscles activated and ready to go. So that's what I did. I felt pretty good. No shortness of breath, none of that. So get that in a little bit. Oh, diet. What did I eat? Boom. There it is. Don't judge my cake. Chinese food. Got my peppers in there. I think that's a tuna salad or something like that. That probiotic hum. That was my first time trying that. Drunk all of that. Pack of blueberries. Took that. Green machine. That's some things that I ate. So the diet was there. I couldn't taste none of that, I don't think. But yeah. Now, the one-a-day vitamin I did not take on Tuesday. I usually take that sometimes, and sometimes I don't take one a day. I take the vitamins in separate. So I do the vitamin D3, vitamin E, the omega-3 fatty acids vitamin thing or whatever. So I took those that day. I didn't take the one a day. It's just on here. But that's sometimes I take my one a day. Wednesday. Well, I said I was going to be about 5 minutes. It's been 15. All right. Symptoms. Loss of taste and smell. Boom. Only symptom. Right? Only one. So, because that was a blessing right there. Medication. The sinus congestion med again. Exercise. 800 meter warm up. Got a yard that I can just jog around in. Block starts. For the blocks in the grass, stick the little things at the back of the blocks to keep them from moving. Block starts. Diet. Pomegranate. I love pomegranates. I eat them all the time. DGLs. Dark green leafy vegetables or whatever. If it was dark, it was green. And if it was leafy, it was on my plate. Fried chicken. Throw a little something in there. Macaroni, and of course cereal. Night symptoms? None. Thursday. Ooh. Symptoms that we'll call you. So Wednesday. Okay, I went to bed now that Thursday morning, 4 a.m. I woke up. I'm like, man, I can't breathe. It's kind of hard for me to breathe. So I'm like, man, what is this? Oh, there go the asthma attack. So I thought I was about to have an asthma attack or something like that, but it wasn't that big. So I sat up like, man, it's kind of hard to breathe. Like I can breathe in and out, but it was just something just blocking it a little bit. So 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. So I was dealing with that shortness of breath. Then after that, 6 a.m. to pass, and it's back regular again, back normal. So I'm like, I can't have none of that going on. Lost of taste of smell, of course, still. Medication. My prescribed asthma meds, like the Singular, the Albuterol, the asthma pump and stuff like that. I had to pull out the old school stuff. But coming to find out that Singular, it's certain research out there that stuff that asthma patients use, it helps during COVID. So, that was a big, eye opener for me. So, I began to take my old medicines, from asthma. That began to help like big time. But also I seen, a big thing for me this day. Also, it was a turning point for me this day also. Now, exercise. 3 minute jog, 15 meter sled pull, short meters. That same one from the other day. Box step ups with some eccentric hamstring exercises. That way, exercise to where I'm extending my hamstring and also having it to contract at the same time. Those type of exercises I do. Or most, me as a sprinter, that's what I do. It helps, prevent a lot of injuries. And some core stabilization exercises. Well, mainly only did one. It's kind of one I made up on my own, which I'm laying on a bench rack. I take the bench, the weight bar off, and I have my arms extended straight. I bring only my shoulders up, but my legs have weights on it also, but I'm laying flat and I'm bringing it up, my shoulders up off the ground and my foot up. About 2 inches off the ground for the foot, 2 inches off the ground for the shoulder, with my arms extended with the weight bar in my arms. With weights on my foot. So that way I get a little contraction in the core. While everything is straight and stable. Then go back down. Up, down, up, down. 3 sets of 20 or something like that for that. And then that was it. And news for that, begin to regain taste and smell between those sled pull sets. So I pulled a little sled thing, and I was eating something at that time. And I'll go back and smell that jambalaya. I think that was jambalaya that day I ate. I'm like, man, I can smell it a little bit. So I go back out there and do another sled pull and come back in and smell it. Like, man, okay. That was good. So my diet that day was this. Boom. There it is again. Don't look at my pie. Sweet potato pie. I got my pomegranates there. What's inside the pomegranates, I poured honey all in it, and I put cinnamon all in it. And I eat it like that. Boom. And all the stuff inside, I eat that too. My garlic, I never manned up enough to even taste that. I supposed to be eating, one, little clove a day, but I didn't do that. It's still sitting in there in that same little pack. I didn't touch it. Of course, Raisin Bran Crunch. Did the one a day that day. But this stuff right here that I was eating, that turkey with the jambalaya, it had a strong smell to it. That whatever was in that stuff, that kind of started, bringing that smell back. So, and that's one thing that I ate that day also. So there's the diet. Now let's see. What was this? Okay, yeah. Friday. Boom. Morning symptoms. 4 a.m. Like I said, I started taking my asthma meds that Thursday. That stuff, the singular and things like that helps the lungs. Morning symptoms. 4 a.m. The phlegm spit up. Begin to spit up all the mucus, just all night, just spitting up. Now, for the mucus color, it wasn't yellow. It wasn't really yellow, and I was just like, "What is this?" But it wasn't yellow. It was white. So that was from then on. I had the phlegm spit up, spitting up, spitting up, spitting up, spitting up, spitting that stuff up. And I also scheduled yesterday. That Thursday from having that little breathing thing. So I'm like, oh, I needed some extra boost here. So medication, I did the molecular antibody treatment. So I did that. I went to, a clinic to get that done. To where they actually hooked me up on a little, on the IV, and they began to do the infusion with the antibodies and things like that. That's designed specifically to fight the COVID virus. So I got that done and had an experience from that there. So I know when they hooked me up and they put me on it, and then the fluid started to go in, it was kind of moving a little bit fast. So about 2-3 minutes into it, my body just began to just get hot. I'm like, man, what's going on? And I started to feel it all the way in my chest, and then it started moving up to my head, and I was just getting, just hot. And then I couldn't breathe. I'm like, man, what's going on? Unhook me, something ain't right. So they rushed over there and hooked me, and then began to talk to me. Then after that, that feeling started to go down. Then what? But I wanted to finish the treatment, so I'm like, okay. So they decided to just put the fluids in slow and dilute it. So I'm like, okay, good. So they hooked me back up, put it in, and I started it up and finished the treatment. They told me to go home to rest after that, but me. After that exercise, I did just 20 meters. 20 meters, very, very short. Block starts. So, boom. Did that. Felt pretty good. Then, after that, I'm like, man, I've been spitting up. I just feel clear. Like, healing was going on during that time in the morning. And then plus the antibody treatment and all of that. So, I'm like, then after the exercise, I felt pretty good and clear stuff. So, I'm like, you know what? I want to go get tested again just to see, So, I got the at-home test. I did that first, and that was negative. So, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to go to urgent care to get tested. So, I went to urgent care and got tested there. So, boom, results came back negative. So, I'm like, glory. Diet today: burrito, sweet potato pie, and oatmeal that I can remember. Night symptoms: none. I'm thinking a little phlegm spit up a little bit, but other than that, that was it. And Saturday, I think I stopped logging here. Morning symptoms: none. Medication: none. Exercise: none. Night symptoms: none. So that was just a blessing all in itself. Diet: boom. I had to do a little healthy cuisine also there. That Olive Garden big giant family bowl of salad, that's what I ate. And some chicken, fried chicken strips or whatever that is they had there. I ate it, But I think that's about it for my thing. My quarantine day will be up tomorrow, I'm believing. But, I'm good. And I just wanted to share my experience out there. So, any athletes out there, want to, just think about, okay, what will go on, anything like that, you know, you should be good, for the most part, especially, I know some people may have been vaccinated, some may not, but I'm just saying my experience of being vaccinated, I guess it kind of, helped a little bit. But if you don't have that symptoms, those past medical histories like asthma and stuff like me, hopefully I pray you come out, even better. But, this is just my experience. I hope it helped somebody. And I am out. See you.